You've been told to eat more protein and take calcium. But if you're over 60 and still getting weaker, something isn't adding up. Because without one missing piece, your body struggles to use the protein you eat, guide calcium into your bones, or keep your brain firing the way it should. And that matters more than you think, because weak muscles, fragile bones, and a mind that's slower to react are the biggest reasons falls happen after 60. Everything we've been told about staying strong after 60 is partly right. More protein, more calcium, more walking. But those pieces work as a system, and most of us were never told what holds that system together. In the next 10 minutes, you'll learn what that missing piece is, why it becomes critical specifically after 60, how it affects your memory and mental clarity, and exactly how to add it without overhauling your whole diet. 5 things. Let's get into it. Let's start with the muscle piece, because most people over 60 are eating enough protein, and their muscles are still shrinking anyway. Here's why. Let me ask you something. Have you been adding chicken, eggs, or Greek yogurt to your meals, doing everything right on the protein side, but still feeling weaker than you did 2 years ago? Your grip isn't what it was. Stairs take more out of you. You reach for the handrail without thinking about it. If that's you, the problem probably isn't how much protein you're eating. It's whether your body can actually use it. After 60, your body becomes significantly less efficient at converting dietary protein into muscle fiber. This is called anabolic resistance, and it's not your fault. It's biology. The protein you eat arrives at your muscles, but the signal that says build doesn't fire as strongly as it used to, so the protein just passes through. You were told to eat more, and you did. The gap wasn't quantity. It was the trigger. Your muscle-building system runs like a construction crew with a foreman and a supply chain. After 60, the foreman, your anabolic signaling system, starts showing up late and giving unclear orders. The protein you eat is the building material, arriving on site every day. But without a foreman issuing clear directives, the crew doesn't know what to build or where to put it. The materials pile up and get hauled away unused. Omega-3 fatty acids from sardines get that foreman back on schedule. They reduce the chronic inflammation that's been drowning out his orders. With the signal restored, the same protein you were already eating finally gets used. Studies in people over 60 show that combining omega-3s with protein can increase muscle protein synthesis by up to 35% compared to protein alone. The food we're talking about today, sardines, supplies that entire system in one package: high-quality protein, omega-3 fatty acids, and vitamin D together. You don't need much. 2 to 3 servings a week, about half a tin at a sitting, is enough to maintain the effect. If the taste is a barrier, try them mashed into avocado on toast, mixed into a tomato sauce, or on a salad with lemon and olive oil. The bones are edible and should be eaten. That's important, and we'll come back to why. If sardines genuinely aren't something you'll eat, mackerel and wild salmon provide similar omega-3 levels, though sardines are the most concentrated source available at the lowest cost. Now, the muscle piece is one thing, but there's something happening in your bones that sardines address in a way your calcium supplement almost certainly isn't. And the reason why catches most people completely off guard. Your doctor might have told you to take calcium and vitamin D. But here's what they didn't explain. There's a third element most people are completely missing, and without it, your calcium may never actually reach your bones. A woman contacted us a few months ago, genuinely baffled. She was 67, taking a calcium supplement every morning, had cut back on soda, walked 3 mornings a week. Her doctor had added a vitamin D supplement after her last blood test. She was doing everything she'd been told. Her most recent bone density scan came back worse than the one before it. She wanted to know what she was missing, and when I looked at what she was eating, it took about 90 seconds to find it. She had all the ingredients, but nobody had told her they needed a third element to actually work. Once she added it, her scan 6 months later showed stabilization for the first time in 4 years. Here's what that third element is. Calcium and vitamin D are necessary, but they're not sufficient on their own. Your bones need a specific signal to actually incorporate calcium into bone tissue rather than letting it drift into your bloodstream. That signal comes from vitamin K2. And sardines are one of the few foods that naturally contain meaningful amounts of both vitamin D and K2 together. Your skeleton is the load-bearing frame of everything you do. Every step, every catch, every morning you get yourself out of bed. Calcium is the concrete. Vitamin D is the delivery truck bringing it to the job site. But without K2, there's no blueprint telling the concrete where to go. It gets poured, but not into the frame. It drifts and settles in places it was never meant to be, including soft tissue around your arteries. K2 activates the protein osteocalcin, which acts as the foreman reading the blueprint and directing calcium into the actual bone matrix. Without that foreman on site, you can deliver truckload after truckload of concrete and still end up with a weakened frame and buildup in all the wrong places. That's exactly what was happening with that woman's scans. Material arriving, but nobody directing it into the structure. The sardine bones you were just told to eat, those are the calcium source. You're getting calcium, vitamin D, and K2 in the same bite. No staggered supplements. No worrying about whether your calcium will actually reach your bones. It's a self-contained system. If you're on bone medication, bisphosphonates like Fosamax or Actonel, this is especially important to discuss with your doctor because timing your sardine intake around those medications matters. We'll come back to that in tip 5. Have you had a bone scan in the last 2 years? If you're over 65 and haven't, that's the comment I want from you today. Now, the bone connection makes sense once you see it. But this next one, nobody connects it to their diet at all. Most people on the medications I'm about to mention have been told their mental fog is just aging. It isn't. If this is helpful, take 1 second to subscribe. Most people over 60 were never taught how these systems actually work together. And once you understand it, everything else gets easier. This next part is where most people realize their aging symptoms aren't actually aging. They're missing pieces. And once you see it, you won't unsee it. Here's what I want you to notice. That slow, foggy feeling in the morning, where you're not quite sharp, you can't hold a thought. You walk into a room and forget why. Most people assume that's just aging. Some blame their sleep. A smaller group suspect their medications. And almost nobody considers that their brain might literally be running low on a specific chemical it needs to think clearly, one that diet directly affects. That chemical is choline, the raw material your brain uses to make acetylcholine, which is the neurotransmitter that runs memory, attention, and muscle coordination at the same time. After 60, your liver produces less choline on its own, and several common medications, including certain statins, proton pump inhibitors, the acid reflux drugs, and some blood pressure medications, further deplete it. This isn't listed on the label. Most people don't connect the fog to the medication. They just assume it's getting worse. Your brain's communication network runs like a telephone exchange. Signals have to route through switching points to connect one region to another. Acetylcholine is the signal carrier that keeps those switchboard lines open and active. When choline runs low, it's like losing power to half the switching stations. The calls, your thoughts, your memories, your focus still try to connect. They're just slower, more prone to dropping, easier to interrupt mid-transmission. Statins, PPIs, and certain blood pressure medications compound the problem because they interfere with the pathways your body uses to synthesize choline from scratch. The exchange was already running short-staffed after 60. These medications send more operators home. Sardines are one of the richest dietary choline sources available. One tin provides roughly 65% of the daily amount your brain needs to keep those lines running. Replenishing choline doesn't reverse neurodegenerative disease, but for the functional fog that comes from nutritional depletion plus medication effect, it makes a measurable difference, sometimes within weeks. If you're on a statin, a PPI, or a daily blood pressure medication, your choline depletion risk is higher than average. This is worth a direct conversation with your doctor, not to stop your medication, but to ask whether a dietary or supplemental choline source has been discussed. Sardines twice a week addresses this alongside everything else we've talked about. If you're not a candidate for sardines, eggs are the next best choline source, about 150 milligrams per egg compared to sardines' higher concentration. Can I share something that genuinely surprised the people I've talked to about this? And if you take nothing else from this video, pay attention to what I'm about to say, because several of the medications most people over 60 are already taking interact with exactly what we've been discussing. Not in a way that means avoid sardines, in a way that means timing is everything. Here's what I want to be careful about. Everything we've talked about today is genuinely beneficial, but several medications common after 60 do have specific interactions with nutrients in sardines, and knowing them isn't a reason to avoid sardines. It's a reason to time them correctly. Your body's nutrient absorption pathways work like a shared electrical system. Each circuit is designed to carry a specific load, and everything runs fine as long as circuits aren't overloaded at the same moment. Thyroid medication and calcium use the same intestinal transport circuit. Run high calcium and levothyroxine through it simultaneously, and the circuit trips. Your medication loses the competition and passes through unabsorbed. Warfarin works by controlling the clotting system's sensitivity to vitamin K. Erratic K intake is like flipping that circuit breaker on and off randomly. Your medication can never find the right setting. Consistent, predictable K2 intake keeps the circuit stable, which is why regular sardine consumption actually makes warfarin management easier, not harder. The system isn't fragile. It just needs predictable load patterns. The 3 interactions that matter most. First, blood thinners, specifically warfarin, coumadin. Eat sardines consistently, same amount, same frequency, so your doctor can calibrate your dose to a stable intake. Erratic vitamin K is the problem, not regular vitamin K. Second, bisphosphonates for osteoporosis. These should be taken on an empty stomach, 30 to 60 minutes before any food or supplement. Don't eat sardines at the same meal. Third, levothyroxine for thyroid. Take your medication at least 2 hours before any sardine-containing meal to keep that transport circuit clear. Simple rules. If you're on warfarin, eat sardines consistently and tell your prescriber you're adding them. If you're on a bisphosphonate, take your medication first thing in the morning, wait your 60 minutes, then eat sardines later. If you're on levothyroxine, 2 hours between your thyroid dose and sardines eliminates the problem entirely. If you're on statins or PPIs, sardines are actively helpful, no special timing needed. If you're unsure about your specific medication, bring this up at your next visit. The conversation takes 2 minutes. Are you on any of these? Warfarin, a bone medication, or a thyroid drug? If you're on one of these, it's worth bringing up at your next appointment. The conversation usually takes just a couple of minutes. And if this is useful, share it with someone who's been struggling with falls, weakness, or that slow morning fog. They may not even know to look here. Subscribe for more straightforward, science-backed information for staying strong and independent after 60. No complicated programs, no hard sells, just what actually works. Everything I have share is for general medicine and based on research publications. If you're on medication or managing a health condition, talk with your doctor before making changes to your diet or supplements.